What's going on, leaders? So today we're taking a look at the second part in a multiple part series about Shadowverse Evolved, Cygames and Bushiroad's new physical card game based off of the Cygames mobile card game, Shadowverse. So if you haven't seen the first video, do me a favor and go and check that out. I'll put a link somewhere around the video, somewhere. You'll figure it out. It talks about and goes over the actual cards in the game, and you should probably familiarize yourself with the actual cards themselves before hopping into this video here. So go check that out first, come back, and yeah. So in this video here, we're actually going to be covering the playfield for the game and talking about the various parts of the field and what they do and how you should be interacting with them during the actual game itself. So first up, I want to show you what an actual playfield for the game looks like. You can see that there's a lot of different moving parts here, and at first it might not make sense, but we'll go over each of these individually so that by the time we're done, you have a really clear understanding of how the game works as far as the field is concerned. So going from top and kind of working our way around the field here, we're first going to start with the leader card. Only a single card is placed here, and it's the actual leader card we talked about in the first video. Again, mostly 99% aesthetic, just to show your opponent what class you're using. So directly underneath your leader card is actually going to be where you place your deck. So again, keep in mind your deck is 40 to 50 cards, 40 is the minimum, 50 is the maximum, and this is made up of followers, spells, and amulets. Keep in mind that you do not place your evolve cards here. They will go somewhere else, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then directly underneath your deck is your graveyard. Again, this is where cards that have either been destroyed or you've used and they've used up their effect, or they've been attacked by your opponent's monsters go. It's pretty much what you'd expect. So the leader area, deck, and graveyard are all on the right side of the field. If we're hopping over to the left side of the field, we encounter the evolve deck zone. So this is where you're going to be placing your evolve deck. Again, evolve deck is 0 to 10 evolve cards only. They're placed face down here, and whenever you would destroy an evolved monster, or an evolved monster is taken out by your opponent's monster, you're going to put them back at the top of this deck face up. Keep in mind these face up evolved cards are considered removed from the game, air quotes there, so that they cannot be used again. And then directly underneath the evolved deck is where your banished area is going to go. So the banished area is for cards that have been completely removed from the game. Sometimes cards or spells or effects from amulets will cause a card to be completely removed from the game, not just into the graveyard, as some classes can take advantage of cards in the graveyard. This area is for those. So now that we've taken a look at the right and left sides of the board, let's take a look at the centerpieces. Now the center has two areas that we need to be concerned about. The first is going to be the field. This is where you're going to be playing amulets and you're going to be playing followers. The followers are going to be attacking and defending, and this is where all the action really happens. Keep in mind this area does have a 5-card max limit for followers and amulets. So you can only have up to 5 followers and or amulets on this part of the board at one time. Keep in mind that spells do not count toward this limit. If you have 5 followers on the board or 5 amulets, you can play a spell and it's not a problem. So if you have any previous card game experience, then none of the areas that I've talked about should really be out of the ordinary for you. Maybe with the exception of the leader area, but I mean, it's just one card, so it's not super complicated. The next area, however, is where Shadowverse Evolved diverges from most other card games, and that is with the addition of the EX area underneath your field. The best way that I can tell you to think about this is think of the EX area as your second hand. A lot of cards in this game generate token followers or token spells or token amulets, and this is typically where those cards are going to go. And so, for example, you might play a follower on the board, and it says, hey, put a token into the EX area. You place a token into the EX area, and then if you have remaining play points or you want to use the play points that you have, you can pay the cost of that token card and then play it into the field as if it were an actual follower, spell, or amulet. Keep in mind that the EX area does have max 5 spaces. The game does use this area very flexibly, and so the example that I gave earlier is quite simple, but there are a couple of cards that use it in a different way. Keep in mind, though, that if the cards do use it in a different way, they will explicitly state that on the card. So again, just think of this as your second hand that your opponent can also see. So the last area of the game board that we're going to be talking about is the playpoint area. This is all the way on the right side of the game board, and this is the way that Shadowverse handles resources. You use these playpoints to play followers, spells, amulets, and evolve your followers. You can see the left side has the max amount of playpoints. Every single turn you're going to be incrementing this by 1. So at the start of the game, you'll start with 1 max playpoint, and then turn 2 you'll have 2 max, turn 3 you'll have 3 max, turn 4 you'll have 4 max, and so on and so forth. So at the start of your turn, once you increment your max play points 1, you'll also replenish your PP to whatever that max is for that turn. And then after that, you can spin that and keep track of it using the right counter there in the green, and reduce that as you play follower spells, amulets, or evolve those followers. Keep in mind that play points that you do not use during your own turn can be used on your opponent's turn, provided that you have a quick spell in your hand. Alright, so yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this one. Just wanted to go over the game board really fast, really simply. If you have questions about anything that I talked about, or that you have questions about something that I didn't talk about, feel free to put those in the comments below. I'll answer those whenever I have the chance to. Additionally, remember this is a multi-part series teaching you about Shadowverse Evolve. So if you want to know more about the game and get notified whenever I put up a new video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Gets you the information you need as fast as possible. Anyway, folks, I've got a ton of editing to do. I'm going to get out of here. You do the same. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.